Former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has entered a plea of not guilty on Friday to a 20-count amended charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). The charges now include allegation of criminal breach of trust, forgery, conspiracy to commit forgery, procurement fraud, and conspiracy to commit a felony. Emefiele, who is currently on bail, was granted permission by Justice Amza Muazu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court to travel outside the FCT, though not leaving the country. The trial judge, Justice Muazu, approved the request for bail and scheduled the next hearing for February 12 and 13 to proceed with the trial. Now, joining me to give more clarification on the new charges filed against former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, I am now being joined by legal expert Evans Ufeli. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Now, from a legal perspective, what legal implication do these charges against the former CBN Governor carry?
Well, the legal implication is that the EFCC, which is charged with prosecution on economic and financial crimes in Nigeria, through her investigation, have alleged that the former CBN governor is involved in some infractions, conspiracy, and other offenses, other fraudulent offenses, procurement, fraud, and the rest of it. These allegations. And there is no amount of charges, okay, that is enough or sufficient or too much to bear on a suspect. The important thing there, what the law wants to see is how far can the prosecution prove these allegations. If the EFCC has sufficient evidence to so ground these charges, so fine and good. Adjournment has been slated for February, wherein trial will commence. And in the process of trial, what the EFCC will do is to make every attempt possible to prove their case by profiling documents and evidence to the case under reference. So where they're able to do that, then fine. The legal implication is that the former CBN governor will serve the penalty for the offense. So, but where they are unable to prove, all these allegations, then the court will have no choice than to let the former CBN governor to go free. But the issue is that the allegations from right, left, and center, they are coming at a time where the EFCC is doing all it can to ensure that all the allegations leveled against Emefiele is proven. So good luck to them if they're able to prove it. In the event that they are unable to prove it, then they will have no case. Emefiele will have no case to answer.
Now, Emefiele has pleaded not guilty to these charges, and in legal terms, what does this plea entail and how does it influence the subsequent legal proceedings?
Yeah, he pleaded not guilty to the charges because it is the law that the prosecution must prove its case. Okay? He's saying he's not guilty so that the burden of proof will move effectively or thoroughly to the prosecution, that's EFCC. Now, EFCC, being the prosecution, have a burden under the law, and that burden is to prove the guilt of the suspect or the defendant in the case, that is Emefiele. Now, the implication is that allegation cannot be absorbed by the court without fair hearing, without hearing from Emefiele. So what they did today was to read the charges out to Emefiele, and in the spirit of fair hearing, asked him whether these charges read to you, are you guilty of these charges or not? And he said it's not guilty. That is, in law, we call it arraignment. Arraignment is when you are charged before a court of law. The first thing the court will do is to have the charges read before you to your understanding and the language you understand, and then to have you respond to the charges orally. So the charges have been read to him, and he has responded to those charges orally. So what is left now is for the court to adjourn for trial, in which case the prosecution will be, presenting evidence to support the charges, the 20-count charges before the court. And each of the charge must be supported by evidence to ground the claim, to show that truly the allegations or the charges preferred against him, one after the other, there are evidence, documentary or otherwise, to prove sin.
All right, legal expert Ufeli, thank you for joining us.